Before we get started with the USA race, here's an extract from Japan with some live commentary.
You should retire. That's not the racing line.
Incredible.
Bloody press interview probably where they're like,
Good day today.
Oh, this didn't really go your way. I have to go through 130R racing with half a front wing.
Oh my god, there's chaos behind.
That's 130R.
Oh my god, it's 3 wide in front of me. Perez, he's run me off the road. Son of a bitch. Oh, he brought...
That's P19 and P20 for us.
Oh my god, yesterday, I don't know if this is the F1 2021 or 2020 game because for some reason this forum doesn't tell me. But this guy, within a few minutes of each other, logged like 20 different bug reports that all say, fix the bugs please, play this impossible to play. Now with that out of the way, what's up guys, it is finally Dan and Nick back with another episode of F1 2021 Cup Career Mode. We're in the USA for round 16, we have finally crossed into the final quarter of the season. The Japanese Grand Prix turned out to be an absolutely dead race. The downforce changes in the 1.1 patch had screwed up all of our setups, so we just ended up driving around at the back, crashing into stuff for the best part of 20 minutes. So instead we move on to the USA for today's episode, and we are about to get underway with the grid order. I think that was Lewis Hamilton flashing up on the screen there, so I'm guessing he's on pole. He is, closely followed by Max Verstappen. Of course, their driver stats are updated as well, so no surprise there on the front row. Followed by Sergio Perez, Yuki Tsunoda, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, Daniel Ricciardo, Carlos Sainz, Fernando Alonso and Pierre Gasly round out the top 10. They're followed by George Russell, Valtteri Bottas, Esteban Ocon, Nicholas Latifi, Nick, Lance Stroll, Antonio Giovinazzi, Mick Schumacher, Nikita Mazepin, and finally myself. And now it's time to get on with the racing.
The American Grand Prix. Radiant Slothz starts last. What a driver.
I believe I crashed in qualifying twice, and that's why I'm starting back there. On the outlap, by the way.
Overtaken by Haas, but he corner cuts his way ahead of people.
I don't know what your train of thought there, saying that I was
Radiant
overtaken by
Slothz
Haas. Justin Freshbot hits Pierre Gasly.
Spun by Pierre Gasly, despite giving him plenty of room.
Radiant Slothz goes across the grass and gets ahead of multiple cars. An impressive start to the Grand Prix for him, with
Gasly there
positions.
Getting payback for France in season 1, where Justin Freshbot famously rear-ended him into the pit lane.
Next up on the cards will be Radiant Slothz being attacked by Pierre Gasly, if it hasn't happened already. I honestly can't remember at this point. We've done so many of these races, it's really hard to keep track of them. As we approach the DRS, well, we're on the DRS straight, which isn't just a regular straight still. Esteban Ocon is trying to get past Radiant Slothz, who illegally overtook him and got away with it, but he's not able to. And
Radiant Slothz massively missing the apex there as we cut to Justin Freshbot now, flying down into turn 1 at speeds of up to 45 miles an hour, looking up the inside of Antonio Giovinazzi.
He is smashed into the side of the Aston Martin, who loses a place to Nikita Mazepin. Nikita Mazepin making his only overtake on track in the entire season at this race. Esteban Ocon pitted.
Somehow track extending on a straight as we come down to the end of the DRS zone.
I think he might have fallen asleep at the wheel there because he was so bored of sitting behind George Russell, as we see Justin Freshbot lining up the son of the great Michael Schumacher down the pit straight.
Ralph Schumacher.
Can he position?
Moves the inside. Justin Freshbot not given a lot of room on the outside.
He's missed out. He rear ends the back of Mick Schumacher, and he cannot overtake the Haas.
Mick Schumacher throwing in a brake check for good measure.
Oh, and Nikita Mazepin, as we watch Radiant Slothz go onto the DRS straight, has retired for the 90th time in a row. and has lost the position that he gained on track. What a
Slothz
shame.
and Nikita Mazepin famously competing for the record for most DNFs in Formula 1 season. I believe Radiant Slothz is almost in double figures for season 2.
And he is very proud of it. Justin Freshbot, attempt number 2 at overtaking a Haas, something that no one thought would be necessary, but he has made it work this time with the DRS. That Haas is incredibly slow, even with DRS. So fairly straightforward. Radiant Slothz now, hunted by the world champion Valtteri Bottas. And
easy overtake for Bottas.
Bottas there with a very clever manoeuvre. He outwitted Radiant Slothz, who hoped to get the DRS.
Now, pedal to the metal.
His foot is to the floor.
DRS.
He looked to the left for no reason. There was nothing there. He does get the place back, though. Justin
Freshbot now looking for another overtake, trying to get back to Pierre Gasly to teach him a lesson. He's caught up with his teammate, who is apparently 6 laps ahead. There's a huge gaggle of cars going into this corner.
It's a bit crowded.
Bounces off the inside curve. Justin Freshbot aggressively looking to the left.
Not even looking at where the apex was for the next corner, just staring in his mirror at Lance Stroll. Maybe he saw a piece of chicken on his front wing and thought,
Radiant Slothz with a track extend in front of him.
And here we go, down the DRS straight. Justin Freshbot lining up on Radiant Slothz, who, after some off-track drama between the last Grand Prix and this one, has said that he does not like working with Justin Freshbot and will not cede a position to him when asked by the team, and that is on full display right here.
Even though Justin Freshbot has got a magnitude more points than Radiant Slothz, as Radiant Slothz spins and brake checks him for some reason, stopping on the racing line. He knew his teammate was behind him, didn't make any attempt to get off the racing line, and now Justin Freshbot has damage.
Perhaps intentional, as we see Radiant Slothz on board. What is this? A sign of sabotage? Just trying to destroy his teammate's reputation. This is Justin Freshbot's view of the situation.
Coming through the corner, Radiant Slothz spins, slams on the brakes and stops on the racing line.
A damaging
no fault
blow.
there can be given to Justin Freshbot.
Of course, Radiant Sloth's damaging the chances of Justin Freshbot to claim 6th position in the championship or better. He goes into the pits. Radiant Slothz continues unhindered, besides the small time loss, which is nothing compared to the time loss by Justin Freshbot in the pit lane. And Mick Schumacher now attempts to overtake this Williams as well, and he's going to give it a go anyway, but it is quickly blocked into turn 2, and that's the end of that story. Justin Freshbot and a new front wing required. Incredibly, Radiant Slothz now causing front wings to be needed for both Williams cars, not just his own. His efficiency since the last Grand Prix has doubled. Radiant Slothz coming down towards the DRS straight. Mick Schumacher on the prowl, looking to make Haas's second overtake of the 2 seasons that we've currently seen. He's looking close. He's in DRS range. He might actually do this.
Eye watches them in the background.
Mick Schumacher,
the slowest driver in history, overtaken by a Haas.
Mick Schumacher.
That is embarrassing for Radiant Slothz, but
sums up he goes into the back
almost
of him.
rear ends Mick Schumacher, locking the brakes, ruining a set of tyres, and almost ruining another driver's race again. Will he spin on this corner again? No, he'll just extend.
Radiant Sloth's happy that he gave Mick Schumacher, an upcoming talent, the chance to make an overtake in Formula 1. You must say this man is truly a passionate Formula 1 fan, giving the fans in the stadium a chance to see some exciting racing, as now he takes the position away as quickly as he gave it up. To Mick Schumacher. Mick Schumacher will cry into a damp tissue later this evening, and that will be the end of his race. As he goes into the pits, Radiant Slothz comes round the final corner. making a few overtakes on the leaders who are coming in for pit stops. None of them changing front wings.
Radiant Slothz is able to make without crashing.
Small lock up there.
Cut up the McLaren.
Gave him plenty of space. Nice and fair driving. Lando Norris accepting the invitation to go up the inside, but did not pursue the overtake into turn 1 on his cold tyres, and now has to sit and stare at the back of this Williams as it trundles around.
Somehow only taking one sector to cause a train behind him.
Lando Norris already fed up of sitting behind this man who sits in the middle lane of the motorway.
Another lock-up.
At 40.
2 cars go past Radiant Slothz here.
It must be said that those tyres are on their last legs at this point. He started the Grand Prix on them, and he's still going. I wonder why he hasn't changed them yet. He can't even get past Carlos Sainz, who at this point is surely struggling on his tyres. And, well, there we go. Carlos Sainz is off the track.
Radiant Slothz there crashing into Carlos Sainz, forcing him off.
I think we need to check the replay there to see what exactly went down. On board Radiant Slothz, Carlos Sainz just randomly spins off into the Nether realm.
Radiant Slothz there getting a taste of what it's like to drive behind Radiant Slothz as he comes into the pit lane.
Justin Freshbot going past.
P15 overtaken by his teammate.
Mick Schumacher once again getting some telly time in the background, but it very brief this time. Radiant Slothz with another lock-up into turn 1. Now we follow Justin Freshbot making up some positions. His teammates behind him, but he has resisted the urge to turn around and slap him across the face, at least during the race. Coming down the DRS straight, the Aston Martin, of course, being nerfed by the mystical powers of Codemasters at EA, now trailing at the back of the field. Much like the Haas team, Justin Freshbot cuts the corner and forces Antonio Giovinazzi off the track, but gets the position. Radiant Slothz will follow him very shortly, as we see them coming down through Sector 3. Justin Freshbot. Right-hander
of Maggots and Beckett's. Radiant Slothz now behind the Aston Martin. A slight track extend from the Aston Martin.
Some shoddy driving.
Had a move on him.
He's into the slipstream. They both get DRS from the other Williams, who in turn gets DRS from the other Aston Martin. He looks down the inside, and it's very close to contact there, but no such touching went on.
Cannot get the move done.
He's going to have another chance.
A pointless finish for Williams.
Another chance now. There's 1.5 laps to go. Radiant Slothz on the DRS straight, so close to the back of Antonio Giovinazzi. It's impossible to not overtake this man. And now we see Justin Freshbot in the foreground, going past Lance Stroll, or at least trying to. Or there may have been some touch in there.
The Aston Martin all over the road here.
Justin Freshbot desperate to get away from his teammate, and oh no, he's locked up, and he's smashed into the side of Lance Stroll with no regard for his safety.
As he's cut up by the Aston Martin again, Justin Freshbot forgetting that the bosses at the FIA installed a new handling model.
The Williams team have touched.
As they come
together. The climax of that.
Not giving his teammate enough room.
The climax of their off-track drama
over the radio,
boiling over.
He's not happy.
On board with Radiant Slothz for the incident, he gives his teammate room, goes up the inside, but Justin Freshbot, unhappy with the incident earlier, cascades into the side, damaging the side pod of Radiant Slothz. And this was the lock-up that caused it all to unfold. And you can only say that it's Lance Stroll's fault, therefore adding insult to injury, crashing into the side of Justin Freshbot for no reason.
Justin Freshbot here, hit by his teammate once. He's coming into the corner. Radiant Slothz knows he has damage and is going to understeer, and just doesn't give him any room on the inside.
Radiant Slothz on the radio saying, why wasn't he going slower with half his front wing missing? Has had no response from the team. He crashes into Lance Stroll out of frustration.
No reason. Radiant Slothz thinks, I haven't DNF'd or DNF'd anyone this race. It's about time I did.
There's still
Justin Freshbot, what we're hearing, going for the fastest lap, even though there isn't enough laps.
He's going to try with the fastest pit stop instead. He's
on the blower to the team saying, I've got 120 something points and Radiant Slothz has 8. Why am I not getting priority?
Radiant Slothz on the radio saying that
his contract.
He ripped up his tyres. Ripped up his tyres. Radiant Slothz on the radio saying that he eats in a lot of Italian restaurants as Justin Freshbot cuts a corner.
Justin Freshbot here reading his contract, looking for an exit clause while on track. I think this is a first in Formula One history.
I think he's found it. It's smashed on.
He smashes his sponsors DHL.
DHL are furious.
To terminate the contract.
The CEO of DHL
in Formula One
on the phone to the FIA right now. They are fuming that Justin Freshbot just destroyed some of their polystyrene boards.
Justin Freshbot will never receive another parcel or package again as Radiant Slothz somehow spins completely on his own.
This just in,
he stalled the car.
DHL have outsourced all of Justin Freshbot's parcels to Hermes to ensure maximum damage when they arrive at his home, which they will also burn down to the ground if he ever orders. And Radiant Slothz is waiting. He's going to have words on track. This is the spin. Took too much curb and the rear end just goes on him. Lower downforce on the cars at the moment. And
Justin Freshbot now on page 14 of his contract. Looking
going round. Oh, and he should have been paying attention.
He's brake checked by Radiant Slothz. There was no avoiding that.
Shocking unfolding events here. Radiant Slothz extremely angry. He's trying to hit the other Williams. He's done it anyway. There we go. Lost his end plate. Both Justin Williams.
Freshbot on the phone to his solicitor as Radiant Slothz hits the wall. Justin Freshbot assaulted on track. There will be legal proceedings.
A controversial end to the Grand Prix. It's time for Driver of the Day. And it's Radiant Slothz, just to add insult to injury, to
somehow
to Justin Freshbot
for going
Christian Horner's loving it.
18. Christian Horner celebrates the fact that the Williams team is falling apart at the seams. Sergio Perez somehow continues to win in this championship.
He's pretty much unbeatable.
Nowhere to be seen despite being in the same car. Lewis Hamilton continues his streak of not winning.
I don't think we've seen... I don't remember the race. It might have been Mexico or Brazil, season 1, that Lewis Hamilton actually won a race. It's rare to even see him on the podium at this point. You gotta say that he's had an absolute dog of a season. Sergio Perez on an absolute baller, and Yuki Tsunoda has boiled over and
Sergio Perez sprays champagne straight into Adrian Newey's eyes, who is celebrating underneath the Japanese flag.
And that is the end of yet another controversial Grand Prix to be uploaded on this YouTube channel. And following the top 3 are Max Verstappen, Daniel Ricciardo, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, Fernando Alonso, Pierre Gasly, and George Russell with an impressive point for Alfa Romeo. Over in the grand scheme of things in the season table, it's still 6th place for Justin Freshbot in the Williams, behind both Mercedes, both Red Bull, and Lando Norris in the McLaren. Behind them, it is Radiant Slothz all the way down at the bottom in 18th place with still 8 points with his solo points finish in France. And over in the Constructors, it is Williams still 4th place behind McLaren and ahead of Ferrari.